Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Centerville MP Reese Chipman speaks out about his involvement in a pornographic video. That story and more tonight on our news.
The Deputy Prime Minister defends the administration's decision to audit several government agencies. That story straight ahead.
Police raid a home in Elizabeth Estates, placing a mother and son in custody. We've got the details straight ahead.
A Queen's Counsel takes issue with the government's plans to remove certain powers from the Attorney General. The story coming up.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome, I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, Centerville Member of Parliament Reese Chipman denying claims that he appeared in a sexually explicit video widely circulated on social media. The married father of three says it is sad that someone would seek to personally attack him after the general election. However, he says he forgives those responsible. Giorgio Bain reports.
Newly elected Centerville Member of Parliament Reese Chipman is speaking out on the heels of a pornographic video of two men making the rounds on social media. Chipman says he is absolutely not one of the men in what he called a sad video and asserted that the Free National Movement is standing by him.
I won't address the video itself because it obviously is not me and it's not a correct video.
The video was widely circulated on social media last night, along with a picture of Chipman who appeared to be standing outdoors and wearing a Free National Movement hat. A firestorm erupted on social media, with some persons defending the Centerville MP and others suggesting that he resign his seat in Parliament. Today, Chipman said after viewing the video, he can only term it as sad and said that he is still shocked that someone would want to personally attack him.
It's a sad video because it's the first thing that came across my mind was the fact that I couldn't believe that someone in our country, in this small place called the Bahamas, had a mindset of deliberate intent. However, we as a people, we still have an obligation to look out for our brothers. And so as far as I'm concerned, I could only forgive the person that would have done it and also move on.
Chipman says what really concerns him is that the attack comes after the general election.
We're out of campaign mode. And usually when, persons realize they're not winning or they're losing in a campaign, they go to all stops. However, we're now in administration mode, and that is what concerns me, is that the campaign is over. We're in administration mode, and I think we need to look forward to working together as a country. Absolutely. I mean, it's social media, and of course, the full support of our administration.
Photos of Chipman and his family were also circulating on social media. When asked how his wife and young children have been dealing with the entire ordeal, Chipman responded that his family is built on the foundation of prayer.
A family that prays together stays together, and we are a praying family. We are a family that believes in God, and my wife and I have been together 10 years, 3 kids, 7, 5, and 2. They're not as aware of what's going on, and everything in God's time, and so maybe it's God's work and it continues, and all we can do is be strengthened by it and move forward.
Chipman defeated former Prime Minister Perry Christie in the Centerville race by 4 votes on Election Day. Christie had previously held the seat for 4 decades. Reporting for Our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
And more than 2 weeks after the Minnis administration announced it had ordered forensic audits into several government agencies, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest says those audits will reveal there was tremendous wastage of public funds by the previous administration. Turnquest also accused the Christie administration of handing out freebies. Jasmine Brown has that story.
The Minister of Finance, who recently revealed that the GFS deficit is 5 times more than what the Christie administration projected, says it's clear those audits are needed now more than ever.
But I think that we're going to be able to determine that there's been tremendous waste throughout the government system.
The Minister administration has committed to conducting audits at the Bank of the Bahamas, Urban Renewal, the Post Office Savings Bank, the National Insurance Board, the former government's Hurricane Relief Program, and the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute. Turnquest revealed during his budget communication on Wednesday that the Ministry of Works overran its budget allocation by $75 million. He also revealed that the sidewalks program that was budgeted at $3 million actually cost taxpayers $30 million. Turnquest says as the weeks progress, they expect more will be revealed.
Whether you're talking about inflated contracts, whether you're talking about contracts that are given where people don't show up, whether you're talking about giveaways to various entities and individuals where we got no value, I believe that we're going to be able to determine a lot of that over the next couple of months.
It was revealed earlier this week that accounting firm Ernst & Young made a presentation to Cabinet concerning the forensic audits. When asked if the government could afford the costly audits, Turnquest said yes. However, he did not say how much it was estimated to cost.
We have budgeted money for that, yes.
Meantime, the Minister administration intends to borrow $722.4 million, $400 million to help finance the government projected shortfall for the 2016-2017 fiscal year, and $322.4 million for the 2017-2018 fiscal year. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
In other news, a woman passed out in the magistrate's court moments after being arraigned in connection with the discovery of an assault rifle and ammunition hidden in her home. April Sands has the details.
A 22-year-old carries his mother down into court with him as he's found in possession of an AK-47 rifle. 22-year-old J. Chris Black was arraigned in the magistrate's court alongside his mother, 53-year-old Julianne Black. Ms. Black pleaded not guilty to charges of possession of a prohibited weapon and ammunition, while her son admitted to both charges. According to police reports, the mother and son were at home Wednesday morning around 6 a.m. when officers acting on information showed up to their Elizabeth Estates residence. Officers presented Ms. Black with a search warrant and asked for the son. The court heard that she directed officers into his room, where they asked him if he had anything illegal in his possession. He allegedly pointed to his closet, where they conducted a search and discovered an AK-47 rifle. Next to the hamper was 28 rounds of ammunition, 7.62 ammunitions. Both Black and his mother were taken to the Elizabeth Estates police station. Mistress Black, who struggled to walk into the magistrate's court, appeared before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson, heavily grasping for air. The court was dismissed and Magistrate Ferguson Pratt called for EMS personnel. The magistrate sentenced him to 5 years at the Department of Correctional Services for the first count of possession of a prohibited weapon, and 5 years for the second count of possession of ammunition without having a firearm certificate, to be served concurrently. The mother was discharged. Reporting for our News, I'm April Sands.
And Queen's Counsel Wayne Monroe is weighing in on the government's plans to remove certain powers from the Attorney General and hand them over to an independent director of public prosecution. According to Monroe, the move wouldn't make sense as the DPP is still tied to the government. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
The Queen's Counsel said it's all about the execution. He said he will have to sit back and observe before he decides whether or not to support it. According to Monroe, it's like putting the cart before the horse.
If you don't give him constitutional security of tenure, what have you done other than put a lot of pressure on a man who will be subject to political interference, subject to public criticism?
The Minister administration in last week's speech from the throne committed to stripping the Attorney General of certain powers like issuing fiats authorizing the commencement of legal actions in sensitive matters, as well as the power to issue nolli prosequis, and handing those powers to the Director of Public Prosecutions. Government has also committed to enacting legislation to establish a new office for the DPP. All this comes as questions still linger over former Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson's decision to stop prosecutions in certain cases. While Maynard Gibson recently called the move unnecessary, Monroe says it all depends.
In any event, you have to make a principled, qualitative decision. Are you now hiving off the office of the Director of Prosecution, the public prosecutions, away from the office of the Attorney General, which you can do, in which case the DPP has to have the security of tenure of a Supreme Court judge and has to be constitutionally protected in that? Or are you going to be chopping and changing? If they do it in an unprincipled way, then I would not support it.
He said he's disappointed that government doesn't see the need to hold a constitutional referendum that seeks to give the DPP security of tenure to ensure they are truly independent.
Because if you can be dismissed at the whim of a politician, you are not independent.
Government has also announced plans to hold a referendum on an independent electoral and boundaries commission, 2-term limits for prime ministers, as well as a recall system for non-performing MPs. But after one referendum which was rejected but still ignored, and another where the result was an overwhelming no vote, Monroe is encouraging the government to do it the right way.
I don't think the public should get wary of referendums. I think you have to look at what they intend to hold a referendum on. So the things that they have to hold a referendum on are laws, parts of the Constitution that they cannot change without the public's permission. And so insofar as that is concerned, it's a good thing. Those areas they tend to touch are very problematic. I would wait to see how they propose to deal with it.
Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Still to come on our news, the Chamber of Commerce chief examines the Minnis administration's first budget. That and more when our news returns.